Cap, February 20.
Angel Tierra Murphy.
I think we got to jump over to Judge McNally first. Hey, everybody, welcome to American Courts. Thank you for coming out. Sunday, I don't think I've done a live in probably going on a year or two now. I did get a baby picture. I am going to get to share a baby picture with you. So everybody make sure you stay tuned in and you get to see the baby picture. All right. Here's Judge McNally. This is a good one. This lady thinks she can go toe to toe with him, and I don't think she wins.
File number 25B148321, and it should be Officer Paul. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Your name?
Officer Paul, Brownstown Township.
Where is Ms. Merkerson? You're going to have to start your video, please. Bottom left-hand corner of your screen.
Mute. Yes, Your Honor. Angel Merkerson.
Okay, stay right there. Who are all these people around you?
Oh, I'm at work.
So I want to just see you and we'll go from there, okay? The officer is here. He's ready to have the hearing. Do you still wish to proceed to the hearing, ma'am?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, officer, and you, ma'am, both to raise your right hands. You solemnly swear affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you'll give in these proceedings will be the whole truth, so help you God. Officer?
I do.
Ms. Merkerson?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead, officer.
On March 18th of this year at approximately 9:03 a.m., I was on patrol in Brownstown Township, working in OHSP seatbelt detail. At that time, I observed Ms. Merkerson operating her motor vehicle wearing her seatbelt underneath her armpit, improper use of her seatbelt, and she was cited for the same.
Any questions of him?
You say questions. Are you asking me, Your Honor?
Yeah, do you have any questions of him, of the officer?
No, my only question was, my concern was that I had on my seatbelt, and I told him me reaching for my beverage, by me being short, my seatbelt naturally wants to come here. And if it's over my shoulder, when I go to reach for my drink, it's in the way. So I thought it would be just a warning. I'm like, I got a good driving record. I did have my seatbelt on, but that was my only question.
But you can't wear it like that though, ma'am.
I don't wear it like that. I was just grabbing my beverage and I literally had put my seatbelt under my arm. Like I said, I felt personally, this is me, I'm not saying that it's right, but I felt like that should have just been a warning, being that I did have my seatbelt on when there's people that don't wear their seatbelts at all.
Well, that's not a defense. I mean, the fact that some people choose to violate laws.
But my defense is I was practicing the law. It's just that I did, as he said, okay, but it wasn't on properly. It was buckled. If I had it holding it with my arm, but it really wasn't buckled, then I feel like that would have been okay, that's a violation. I didn't know that me putting it under my arm to reach for my beverage would cause me to get a ticket. I had no idea. So to me, I didn't see them give people warnings for lesser things. My seatbelt was buckled up. It just wasn't across my shoulder when he.
You're not wearing it properly, ma'am. That's not wearing it properly.
Your Honor, if I may, she did receive 2 verbal warnings, one for her plate or vehicle showing no insurance on it, and she received a warning for a tinted license plate cover.
My vehicle had insurance from the day that you pulled me over before then.
Wait. Let him finish.
Oh, okay, okay, no problem.
Wait.
So again, when I ran the plate during that traffic stop, it did show her vehicle was uninsured. I did not confirm or verify that because I wasn't taking action on it. She was receiving a verbal warning for it anyway. But from what I could see in my system, it was showing that her vehicle was uninsured at the time, which she did receive a verbal warning for, in addition to the tinted license plate cover that she had.
Okay, now can I speak?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another vehicle that was registered under the same plate. So I guess in transference, the state probably didn't have it updated, but I definitely had insurance. He never asked for a copy. So to say that I got a verbal warning, he never asked for my insurance to see if I had it or not. So I don't know how, because I have proof of everything. I made sure of that. I don't drive a vehicle without having proof of insurance. I couldn't take that car off the lot without proof of insurance. The only thing he asked me was that car mine. And I said, yes, this car is mine. It's insured in my name, and I am the only owner. I never got a warning about anything with insurance because we never discussed my insurance because that was never the issue. The only thing that officer stated to me was that because I asked him when he pulled me over specifically because I was praising God. I was in praise and worship listening to a Pacific song. And I asked him, I said, excuse me, can I ask you why I'm being pulled over? Because I thought I was following all proper protocol. I knew my car had been registered. I knew that I had just transferred it from another vehicle off the plate at the dealership. They said that I could use the same plate and everything was properly done. I had all that proof in my glove box. I had my insurance. So
All
I
right.
knew I wasn't being pulled over for those reasons. So when he said my
Ma'am,
I was shocked.
ma'am, did you
Yes.
hear me? I was trying
Yes.
to stop you. Why weren't you stopping?
I didn't hear you say ma'am. I
Okay.
hear you now.
Okay, good. All right, so listen. That insurance, I don't even need to hear about it. I don't need to hear about the tinted window. He didn't write those, but you're responsible of seatbelt violation. I'm sorry. I find you responsible $65. Can you pay that today?
No, I cannot.
When can you pay it?
I don't I'm unsure.
Where do you work?
At a hair salon.
Well, you got to give me a date when you can pay this, ma'am.
Am I able to fight this further? Because I don't agree.
Yeah, you can pay.
Okay. Well, I
Okay.
would like to do that because I don't agree.
Ma'am, anybody listening to this knew you weren't going to agree.
No,
Hang on.
all the people that I work with feel like it was petty. All the people that I work with feel like it was petty. And even
Young
the
lady,
report,
do
the
not
secretary at the court.
interrupt me. Do not interrupt me.
Am I free to speak or not?
No, you're not. I've already heard you. I heard everything you had to say. I'm not about to argue with you.
I'm not arguing with you, sir.
Look,
I'm a dog. I'm a dog just like you
I'm gonna ask you a
are.
question, and I'm going to tell you the answer. You can appeal this decision. You have to post the bond. Is it 7 days or 14 days, Lisa? Remind me.
I believe it's 7.
May 1, you have to pay by, and you tell them, I want to appeal that decision. You pay your $65, and then they will set it in front of the other judge, and you can tell the other judge your story, and maybe she'll agree with you. I don't know what else I can tell you.
That's all I need to hear. You don't have to tell me anything else. You have a wonderful day.
By May 1. Good luck to you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Yeah, thank you. Devon Michael Huff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What is happening in this world? People think they can argue about everything. Devon Michael Huff.
Well, she should have just been happy she didn't get tickets for the other ones. If I got pulled over every dang thing they found, they would have given me a ticket for. So, yeah, she certainly didn't help herself. But, you know, sometimes she has an audience at work. So, you know, maybe she was just trying to show out. Looks like we got a good crowd in here tonight. I'm a little distracted, but we're going to get there. We've got Judge West, Judge Clark, and Judge O'Donnell. We got a longer one with Judge O'Donnell. Let's go to Judge West first. Judge West in Texas.
Good morning, sir. You are Lotharia Jacob.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Jacob, you were previously in court, entered a plea of true to count 2, and a motion to revoke your probation. Looks like you're on probation for the 3rd-degree felony offense of driving while intoxicated, 3rd or more. And let me get that pulled up so that we can go through. Does the state have evidence with regard to any of the other counts?
Yes, Your Honor. Probation officer here can testify as to count
Give me,
count 1.
okay. Mr. Nichols, with regard to count 1, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Cimaria Jefferson.
Good morning, Ms. Jefferson. If you'll please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Ms. Jefferson, are you the probation officer assigned to monitor Lotharia Jacob?
Yes,
And how long have you been assigned to this case?
since about September when he was continued on probation.
Okay. And as part of his conditions, is he ordered to remain in Jefferson County
Yes,
with an exception for employment, correct?
yes.
And so during your period of supervision of Mr. Jacob, did the GPS monitor indicate he was in Galveston County, specifically in Gilchrist and Galveston, the city of Galveston?
Yes.
Did you ask him about that and try to ascertain if he was there for work purposes?
Yes, I did.
And what did he tell you?
He actually denied going to Galveston and Gilchrist.
When was this conversation?
It was during an office visit on November 28th.
November 20th.
Mhm.
And after that conversation, did he bring you any documentation showing that he was in Galveston County for work purposes?
No, he did not.
Thank you. I'll pass the Your Honor. Actually, I'm sorry, Judge. While I have you here, what is your recommendation if the court is inclined to revoke Mr. Jacob? I know your opinion is contained in your updated report. Is your conclusion and recommendation the same as it is in your report?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll pass the Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rojas, you may proceed.
I have no questions to the
Okay. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Any witnesses with regard to count one then, Mr. Rojas?
Just Mr. Jacob, briefly.
Mr. Jacob, the best you can, raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rojas.
Okay, Mr. Jacob, you heard Ms. Jefferson's testimony, right?
Yes.
And you recall the day she was talking about when the GPS showed that you were in Galveston?
Yes.
Okay. So, first off, is it true that you denied to her that you were there?
No, I did not. I told her I was going out there. I worked out of town a lot.
Okay.
And I said I was out there and working.
Okay. So, could it maybe just been a miscommunication between the two of you?
That's the only time I was. I used to go to work.
And so are you telling the court that the days that the GPS showed you in Galveston and Gilchrist, you were actively working?
Yes,
What kind of work do you do?
I do concrete work.
And the concrete work that you take you to various locations
Correct.
around
Around.
Southeast Texas.
Correct.
And are you telling the court that you did not intend to mislead Ms. Jefferson when she asked you about where you were out of town working?
No, I wasn't intending on this.
Okay, you think it might have just been a miscommunication between you and her that day?
It could have been because that's the only time I ever was.
Okay. I'll pass the letter.
I have no questions, Mr. Jacob, Your Honor.
So who do you work for?
I work for Planet Concrete. I've been there for like 3 years now.
So when your probation officer, Ms. Jefferson, asked you about that, why didn't you get any kind of proof that showed you had been there if she was questioning that you were? Don't talk over me. Let me finish my question. So if you disagreed with her that you were there for work and not for something else, then why didn't you do anything to give her some information, or your attorney at this point some information?
My attorney did. I talked to my boss man.
Mm-hmm.
And he had,
With court permission. I did speak with Supervisor Mike, I think it is his last name, Judge, but he says that it's true they do work out of town. They go various locations all over the Southeast Texas. He didn't have any documentation as to what date they were working out of town in Gilchrist. He couldn't confirm or deny whether it was this date or not, but he did say they do work sometimes at the beach or Galveston. He just couldn't tell me whether these dates were those dates they were there or not.
Okay. All right. Anything else then?
From the witness note.
Okay.
I have some comments I'd like the court to take into consideration, Your Honor.
Well, I mean, the allegation is that you were out of the county without permission. And so you had permission to work, but when something comes up, I would think that there was an issue with regard to whether or not you were working on that day, and you didn't provide any verification of that, then it really doesn't leave me much choice at this time other than to find count one true. So I am at this time, based on the testimony, going to find count one true. Again, there was a plea to count two of true. I've received the updated pre-sentence report. Has everyone had an opportunity to review that report?
We have, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, we have.
Are there any additions or corrections?
Not from the defense.
None from the state, Your Honor.
And so I want to go through real quick, again, for the record, this was a driving while intoxicated, third or more. It was an 8-year sentence that was probated for 8 years. The allegation number 2 that you previously pled true to was that you did not use the handheld breathalyzer as ordered as well, and you pled true to that. So, Mr. Rojas, you may proceed.
Judge, as to that allegation number 2, speaking with Mr. Jacob and again with his supervisor, what Mr. Jacob tells me is that he blew into the breathalyzer. He blew into them late, so that sometimes his job takes him to different locations where he'd have to park in a parking lot or on the street somewhere, and they walk to the job site, which can be, quite a distance away. And by the time he'd walk from the job site back to his car, the time to blow into the machine had passed, and that's why they're coming up to failures. There's no excuse for being late, Judge. He should have known when he should have been there, made plans. But it's not like he was blatantly not blowing into the machine. According to him, he was doing it. He was just doing it late, and it's because he was at work and the job sites were quite a while away from where the machine was parked in his car. What Mr. Jacob is asking the court to do this morning, Judge, and I know it's hard to ask this from the court. He's asking the court to reinstate him. He's already been to the JCDI more than once, I believe. I don't think we've got any positive or positive tests for alcohol. It's just the timing on getting it done. I've spoken with him on several occasions about how important it is for him to take these tests whenever the court tells him. It's not up to him. The court tells him when to do it, and that's when he's got to do it. I think he understands it now. He's asking the court to give him reinstatement and just go back basically to the way it was before the motion was filed. I understand there's a recommendation in there for safety, Judge, and I was speaking with him about that yesterday. I don't know what his feeling on safety is today, whether that's something he's interested in doing or not.
I want to do everything. The wife's going to be on this. I'm about to leave the house now.
So, but Mr. Jacob, you can't just keep messing up and then say, okay, I get it this time. Just let me out. I'm going to do it. You were here. Okay.
Judge, and I don't think Mr. Ross intentionally misstated, but because it's not on the report, but in the admin hearing, there is a positive alcohol test mentioned from early November. I know he may not have that in front of him. Just want to clear that up. But that it was a low blood alcohol at 8 o'clock in the morning, November 2nd, 2024.
Yeah. I see that. It's 0.003.
At 8 in the morning.
At 8 in the morning. So, and then missed subsequent test that day. I mean, okay. I want to make sure that I have this right. So it looks like you went to the Unity house for 30 days. Within 2 months of the release from there, and this was at the beginning of your probation, let me go through. Began JCDI program April of 2022, shortly after you got on probation. And so you were struggling to maintain sobriety. You went to the Unity house for 30 days. Within 2 months of that release, you again tested positive for alcohol and had your first administrative hearing. Part of that was that you get that SCRAM device, as well as increase your recovery efforts in JCDI. Failed to adhere to those recommendations, therefore you were ordered to complete both tracks of ISF, which it looks like you did, completed December 28th of 2023. Then you go back to JCDI for aftercare, again struggled to comply, testing positive, forging your required meetings, and operating a motor vehicle without an interlock. This led to unsuccessful discharge from JCDI and a motion to revoke. And so you came here on a hearing on a motion to revoke. I left you on probation, continued you, ordered you to re-enter the JCDI program. You were going to be on the high medium caseload, continue with your portable monitoring device, and it was going to be zero tolerance. Then we're here again with failing to comply with that portable device at least, it looks like 19 times. You didn't do that. And then we've got the issue with you being in Galveston and Gilchrist without permission. So it looks to me like you've tried and started but never finished JCDI, is it 3 times, I believe? But I'm supposed to just go, and you've been to ISF, and you've been to the Unity House. I mean, when I'm saying that out loud, think about how it sounds for you to go, well, just let me out this time. I got it. I got it. I'm going to do good this time. You see what I have to worry about? I have to worry about everybody being safe. Mr. Nichols?
I'd urged a 5-year cap in September, Your Honor. There was no agreement on sentencing in this case for today. But I just feel that zero tolerance needs to be zero tolerance, because after that, it only took a couple of weeks for him to start violating.
So, Mr. Jacob, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of true to count 1 freely and voluntarily. Find that count true. I've already found count 2 true based on, no, the opposite. You pled true to count 2. I found count 1 true today. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, and at this time, revoke your probation. I'm going to reassess your punishment at 4 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm going to hand you the trial court certification. I need you to sign this, and I'll give you a copy. It shows this was not an agreement, so you do have some rights to appeal. You can talk to Mr. Rojas about that. Good luck, sir. Thank you, Neil.
All right, so 4 years. 4 years because you just couldn't get it right. I don't know. It seems like if I got out of jail, I'd just go ahead and follow the rules, at least until I got done with that probation. But sometimes people just know they're not going to pass. They just know they're not going to follow probation. They might as well just take the jail time and get it over with. All right, we're going to go to, should I do Judge McDonald, or do y'all want to see pictures of the baby? All right, 3. No one wants pictures of the baby, so we're going to go to Judge O'Donnell in Ohio.
Last time being March 11. You understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson?
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, in discussing this with my client, he is prepared to waive the final hearing this morning and enter a plea of guilty to the violation, Your Honor.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Why are we back here again?
Sure, I had got out of NeoCap, and I went to a meeting, and I seen my old sponsor. He gave me a job, started working, was on the right track, and just wasn't thinking, just
Wasn't the point of NeoCap
right.
to get you to start thinking differently than you've been thinking all these years?
Yeah, but my thinking was, it was just alcohol, and it wasn't anything else.
What does that mean?
And so
What does that mean?
That was just, that was my stupid thinking. I mean,
Why would you think that?
Because I'm a drug addict, and I wasn't using drugs. I was only drinking, which I know drinking is, it leads to other issues and things, but I just figured, I wasn't thinking right, sir. I mean, I know it's embarrassing. I can't believe that this happened like this. I mean, I'm just disgusted with myself, and I already had missed like a year, of my son. I miss him so much, and I just can't. I'm embarrassed. to tell you the truth. Like,
Didn't we have this same discussion
we did.
last July?
yes, we did.
And what has it gotten us? Where have we gotten since then?
It's got nowhere. It's got me back into the same old, same. That's why it's just, I still can't believe that this had happened like this. I'm just disgusted with myself, to tell you the truth. I mean, I really am. I had a job. Like I said, my sponsor gave me a chance, you know, and, you know, I just went off to, you know, I just figured what's a couple drinks to, you know.
Where did that take place?
This took place at my house. I gotten a couple of those, I wasn't drinking to get drunk. I just had a couple of those.
Then why were you drinking?
To tell you the truth, sir, I mean, you know, it takes, you know, to help calm my nerves, to tell you the truth. I mean, you know, I'm a nervous wreck, you know. I figured, you know, I got a painting job, and like my nerves are so shot that, you know, to me, my thinking was, you know, it's to help me calm down. Maybe I should just drink one of these things, and that was
what thing?
These little alcohol things they're like these energy drinks with like 12% alcohol.
Jesus.
Yeah.
12% alcohol.
Yep.
I thought you said it was a low alcohol thing. Is that a low alcohol thing?
No, I didn't.
What energy drink?
They're the Monster Energy drinks with alcohol in them. Like you can buy at the convenience store for like $2.
How would an energy drink calm your nerves? It seems like that.
Well, the alcohol does.
Junk.
The alcohol does. I mean, but that was just my excuse. I mean, you know, I figured, you know, yeah.
Well, you seem to, your prevailing attitude seems to be that, well, at least it's not heroin. Isn't that kind of how you played that off to
Well, I knew drinking wasn't. I knew I couldn't do it, and I knew it was going to be an issue. It's just, you know, to tell you the truth, sir, I mean, it helped. You know, I'm an alcoholic, and it helps my nerves, I guess. I mean,
what are you nervous about?
Just nervous about, you know, well, when I was painting, you know, I was nervous because my boss, you know, I was screwing up because I was shaking so much, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to do a good job for him. I didn't, you know, I knew he gave me a shot, and I know he understands
Why were you shaking?
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't you think you better find out why?
Yeah, I was gonna actually in the process of going to the doctor.
What does that mean, in the process of going to the doctor?
Well, it was so quick that, you know, I was only out for a couple weeks. And
how long did you have this monster when you
after
you got out?
After a week.
Where were you working? Okay, and that was your sponsor?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so on the way, did you finish work and you were on your way home?
Yeah.
Where'd you stop?
The convenience store in Wycliffe there.
Where, on Euclid Avenue?
Yep.
Okay. Why didn't you just call your sponsor instead? Say, I'm going to get a freaking monster drink that's got 12% alcohol. Should I do that?
Well, I
should do that.
You know, I was actually talking with him, and I was actually talking with him about my issue with the shaking and everything else. You know, and my nerves were, you know, I was nervous for, I don't know why. I mean, my heart starts beating. maybe I have high blood pressure or something, but I actually approached him about that, and you know, he also said just go see a doctor. Why I didn't tell him? Why didn't I should have called him and told him I was going to get something to drink? Well, sir, I didn't want to lose my job. You know, so I figured, you know, maybe, you know,
That's some convoluted thinking. What good is it to have a sponsor?
right. Yeah.
What good?
If you don't tell them the truth, it's no good at all.
What good was NeoCal?
Well, if it doesn't work, then, you know, I mean, if you,
Well, why didn't it work?
I didn't give
How
it a
long
chance.
did you spend at NeoCal?
5 months.
5 months.
Yep.
What'd you do at NeoCal?
I just did a lot of work. I mean, I wrote, you know, a lot of class and everything else, a lot of role playing. The whole time at NeoCap, I just didn't want to get in trouble to, you know, for me to go to prison is what, because I know if you screw up at NeoCap, then that's, you know, what happens, so.
How do you know?
Because that's what they were all saying to me.
Who?
All the teachers and counselors and everything else. They said this is the last resort. So instead of like, you know, going there to learn things, I just went there not to get in trouble and try to just get through the program.
So that was a waste of time. So I'm going to get back to what I was saying a little bit ago, that your prevailing attitude since you got out of NeoCap, at least since you got out, probably well before that, was as long as you're not on the drugs, you know, it's no big deal to be on the alcohol, right?
No, I was
Now you're telling me something different today, but that's not the vibe that you were giving off to the providers and to the probation officer. At least it's not heroin. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, I mean, yeah, I mean. No, I understand alcohol is a big issue, and,
I mean, that's kind of head up your ass thinking is what that is.
Right, yeah.
Okay? Because there was another guy here about 7 years ago who was a heroin addict, went to rehab, got off the heroin for a period of time, and figured be okay to start drinking because it's not a heroin.
Right.
Started drinking and drinking and drinking and getting drunk, and one night he got drunk. And he got in his car and went to the Euclid Beach area and got some heroin and did it. Was driving on Route 2. There was a cop with somebody pulled over, and he hit the cop and killed him. And he's in prison. He thought, at least it ain't, you know, it's only drinking, not heroin. That convoluted thinking has worked exactly 0 times in the history of the world. Now, what is it you want from me? Is the next word out of your mouth another chance? Is that what it is? I assume that's what it is because that's what everybody wants, okay? So another chance for what?
To just go back to work and just do, you know, I mean.
You were already at work. You went back to work.
Right.
What good did that do you?
I guess I can just go, I mean, I just need to go see a doctor about my situation. I mean, I didn't want to.
What specific situation?
With my issue, like being nervous and like.
And how long has that condition existed?
For going on like 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, and how many times have you seen a doctor in those 5 or 6 years to deal with that?
Well, because I was in Vegas and everything else, so I had moved out here, and I moved out here 3 years ago, and I've been incarcerated. I was in the, treatment, when I first got out here. I haven't really been on the streets, sir. Like, I mean, to get an answer for I mean.
Well,
I know it's my fault.
I can give you the correct answer. Correct answer is you didn't see a doctor in those 5 or 6 years because you didn't want to see a doctor.
Right, yeah.
You wanted to party.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So when you got out of NeoCap on February 25th, why didn't you make arrangements to go see a doctor? You said before you were in the process of it. That doesn't mean anything. You're not in the process of anything.
No, because
you're either going to do it or not do it.
Right. I was in Signature Health, and I was actually that was when they had I was at Signature Health trying to talk with the doctors, and they wanted to drug test me or whatnot.
And you left before getting tested, right?
Right.
Why?
Because I knew I would fail for alcohol.
Okay.
So that was.
And so what did you hope to accomplish by not testing, knowing that you had to test? What did you think was going to happen?
Well, I knew it was going to happen.
But you did it anyway.
Yeah.
Like when you went up when you pulled into the convenience store, you knew you shouldn't have been doing that, but you did it anyway. So when you talked last July about missing out on your son growing up, he's how old now?
16.
Okay. When you talked about that and how you didn't want that to happen, but it happened anyway. And I think I probably informed you at that time that was not that important to you because this kind of stuff was more important to you. And now, after 210 days in jail, 5 months in NeoCap, you still prioritize you and your habits over your son. Right?
Yeah, yes.
Why is that? After all that...
Because I have a disease of alcohol. I'm an alcoholic.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, then what we should do is just let you go back to work and hope that you don't do it again. Or just send you to prison to finish out your time. And then you can do whatever you want. What does being an alcoholic have to do with it?
I don't know, I guess the temptation, whenever I feel.
So there's nothing you can do about it?
You just get treatment, I mean.
Yeah, but the treatment doesn't work because you're an alcoholic and there's nothing you can do about it. So this is going to be your life until you croak or what? Because you can't do anything about it? So you're content to go on like this, periodically come here until your time is up, either by prison or by probation, okay? And then just go on about your way, living your life the way you've been living it. Is that the plan?
No.
Because you're an alcoholic and you can't do anything about it?
No, I can't do something about it.
Then why don't you do something about it? instead of whining about it? Why don't you do something about it instead of whining about it? Instead of leaning back and shaking your head and putting your head down and saying you're an alcoholic. And that's just the way it is. Do you ever think there's been an alcoholic that quit drinking and never drank again? You ever think?
Yeah. I know a lot of guys.
So how did that happen if they're an alcoholic?
Because they go to meetings and they do the right thing. They just.
A lot of people go to meetings and stare at the wall. A lot of people go to NeoCap.
Well, because they want it,
and stare at the wall.
Yeah.
And don't get anything out of it. So going to treatment doesn't really mean anything.
Just
in and of itself.
Having a support group and having support.
I thought you had a support group. You had a sponsor who is also your employer. I thought you had a pretty close support group. You didn't use it because you didn't want to use it. Why is your dad here again?
I don't know.
Does he support you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you utilize him? I should have just, you know what I should have done? I should have gotten the tape of last July 26th and just hit play and gone back and sat in there. Your priorities haven't changed in the last 9 months. So what am I doing here? What's the point? Tell me, what's the point?
I just need another chance. I mean,
there's that magic phrase, I need another chance. And the question,
I really didn't think it was...
the immediate question in response to that phrase is another chance for what?
So I can do the right thing, so I can just fix this issue, fix this problem.
You've not given me any indication that you're interested in fixing this problem. Because 5 minutes ago you said, I'm an alcoholic.
No, I need more treatment. I need to go to a sober living.
What stopped you from doing that once you got out of NeoCap?
I guess I was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed, I was working. I just didn't want to make anybody upset. I had a couple drinks because my nerves were shot. And
that cured the nerve shot problem, right? That solved that, right?
It did, yeah.
Okay, so maybe in order to treat your shot nerve problem, you should just chug a couple of monsters.
No, that wasn't my goal. I wasn't planning on doing it. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Well, you did plan on doing it because on your way home from work, you pulled into the convenience store and decided to go in and buy that and then go home and drink them. So you did plan on doing it. You act like you have no control over your life. That's how you act. That's how you see yourself. Right? Because you talk about, since you came back here 3 years ago, you've been incarcerated most of the time. Because of other people?
No.
Okay. So when is it you're going to take control over your life? When is that?
I guess as soon as I'm happy with my life, I guess.
Well, you know what? I got bad news for you. Because there's a lot of people that function on an everyday basis that aren't overly thrilled with their lives. But they go on anyway and make the best of it. So you're going to wait to take control of your life at some point when you get happy with your life? How are you going to get happy with your life? You're just like a cat chasing your tail, running around in circles. I don't know why. So I got the magic treatment hammer right here. Okay, that'll cure everything. That'll put you in the place you have to be. It's magic. I put you in a place for 5 months that was supposed to help you realize the primary function of that place is to get you to realize how screwed up your thinking is and to change it. And you spent that 5 months, all that energy, doing your best not to get kicked out of there because of what you perceived as the consequence. So now you want me to put you somewhere else where I assume your goal is to do your best not to get kicked out, to avoid the consequence. You're spending all your time and energy in a negative fashion for one purpose, to try to avoid prison. What a waste of time. How many days?
It is an overall total of 407 days covered.
407 days. Trying to avoid another penalty. And you've gotten exactly nowhere. So explain to me now why I'm supposed to put you back somewhere else that doesn't work.
I can't. I
You
can't.
can't. Well, I can enlighten you a little bit to the extent that I can penetrate your brain. None of this shit works unless you want it to work, and you don't want it to work. You like your old life rather than trying to carve out a new life.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Well,
Because
I
I have
would.
nightmares about what I used to do and how I used to be every
Well,
night.
it's not so much of a nightmare that you're not willing to change what you used to do, meaning the heroin, I suppose, right?
Not just that, sir. It was a lot of stuff. It was not just the drugs. It
Well,
was,
that thought isn't overwhelming to you because you keep going back to the same
yeah,
process.
I
and the
admit
same
I had
habit.
to, yeah, I had to slip up. You know, I mean,
You didn't have a slip up, okay? Don't call it a slip up, okay? Because you went into NeoCap and spent the time at NeoCap not for the purpose that you were sent there to get something out of it. So it wasn't a slip up. It was a continuation of what you've been doing for a long time. It wasn't a slip up. That tells me that you have no concept here, still, what's going on and where you're at and how to get out of it if you want to get out of it. It's called a lack of insight. Where's your son today?
he's at school.
Where? What classes is he taking?
I'm not sure
Why not?
because I haven't been there.
When's the last time you talked to him?
It was right. It was on my birthday, the day I got, and the day I went to go to the probation office. Was the last time because I don't even want to call home. I'm so embarrassed. So that was the last time I talked to him.
Do you know what grade he's in?
Yeah, he's in 10th grade.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Let me see you two.
Damn. He graduated in 82. Huh? He graduated. I graduated in 84.
Tell the judge that you would like an opportunity to go to Concord Pines. Can you say that or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you?
That's what I was asking him.
Well, you didn't say that.
Oh.
This whole time you did say.
All right, so I'll just speak on that real quick. Hardly anyone gets it the first time. You're absolutely right, dog man. When my son went into relapse a few times, when we called trying to get help, everyone wanted to tell us that relapse was part of recovery. And, you know, as a dad, I just kept telling him, no, y'all are just giving him an excuse to have a couple good relapses before he has to get it straight. And so I don't know. I don't know how relapsing is part of it, but that's what the professionals say, and they're the professionals, so we'll go with them.
Oh, I see. I would like more treatment.
You said go back to work and go to AA. So why don't you say, Judge?
Yeah.
You know, I think I have an opportunity here. I'd really like to take advantage of it. Go to Concord Pines.
I thought I told him, like,
In fairness to.
February 25th, Your Honor.
What were the discharge notes? What did the discharge notes say?
It states, it should be noted upon reaching the final phase of the level program, Mr. D'Angelo struggled to consistently meet program expectations. He often refused to accept responsibility or feedback and often blamed stereotypes about his culture for his aggressive responses and inappropriate comments. Rather than applying skills learned in group setting, he felt entitled to be given points and approvals for lack of intervention to his risky thinking.
Is that accurate?
Yep.
Okay. So they all want me to send you to some place called Concord Pines. You aware of that? You aware that that's where what they want me to do with you?
Yes, sir. I think.
What's Concord Pines?
It's a treatment center. It's a
kind of treatment center.
It's a sober living. I believe.
You don't really know. How long you been in jail now?
A month and a half.
Okay. Did you talk to any of the other knuckleheads over there about Concord Pines? Anybody ever mentioned Concord Pines?
Yeah, they said in NeoCap. Yeah, because a lot of guys were going after NeoCap to going there.
Okay. So why would I do that if you don't really give a shit about any of this stuff? You just kind of bide your time until you can get out.
No, I do care. I mean, I do, sir. It's not, I mean.
No, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't be here again. Just saying you care doesn't mean you care.
No, I wish I could say it's that easy. I mean, I have a problem with alcohol.
Said,
I've had
no kidding. Who said it was easy? Did I say it was easy?
No, I said.
You know what makes it like doubly hard? If you don't put any goddamn effort into it. That makes it impossible. Doesn't make it doubly hard. It makes it impossible if you refuse to put effort into it. And you don't put effort into it. You just agreed with what the discharge said with you. You didn't put effort into it. You didn't put effort in it when you got out, okay? Because the effort would have been, hey, Mr. Sponsor, I got this overwhelming desire to stop at Convenient and get a freaking monster drink that's got 6% alcohol. You didn't put any effort in it. You just went in and did it. No effort. Now magically, you're going to put effort into it? Is that what I'm to believe? Because you keep, 90 seconds ago you fell back on, well, I'm an alcoholic.
No, it wasn't I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. I've been an alcoholic. And I've been trying. I mean, You haven't been trying.
You haven't been trying. You've
would
got
have to- I would have-
you've got a different definition of trying than I have. You spent 5 months in that place not trying and blaming other people for your tales of woe. You show me no evidence that you're ever going to change. What do you think? You've never been to prison, have you?
No.
What do you think it's like?
I have no idea. I don't know.
No idea.
I've never been there.
I know you've never been there. Do you have a perception of what you think it's like from talking to the other malcontents over there?
Yeah, I just know that it's not what I need. I mean, you probably, I mean, it wouldn't be a good thing because they,
as a general rule, I don't send people to prison for the type of crimes you committed, okay? Unless and until they demonstrate they have no interest in any of this other shit, okay? They have no interest in changing their lives. Sometimes I send people there for the express point of letting them see what it's like and maybe shaking up their mind to figure out that ain't where I want to be because there's a lot of bad people in here. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes after people refuse to participate in their own lives, I just send them there to finish out their time.
I feel like that would, what I need, sir, is treatment. I need to go to, like, Concord Pines would be because in prison, I heard that, you can get whatever.
You get all the drugs you want in prison.
Yeah, and I don't think that would be the right thing for an addict, so.
Now, there have been people that I've sent to prison that when I let them back out, they readily acknowledge that there's as much, any drug they want at any time they can get. And there are some that just didn't partake in that, even though they could. You know why? You know why they would do that, take that action?
Well, because they have...
Because they didn't want to.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
That's...
How long has he been in on this stint, Nicole?
45 days, Your Honor.
45 days. What's 45 days amongst 407, right? It's like a walk in the park, right?
No.
No?
Because I just want to get home as soon as possible. I'm tired of being here. Like I said, I haven't even called my son because it's,
Well, because he's more responsible than you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
It's
is.
just embarrassing, that's all. It's just enough is enough. I have no more excuses. I mean, it's...
Well, you didn't have any more excuses last time either, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to keep you on community control because I'm stupid like that.
I appreciate it, sir.
50 days in the jail, credit for 45. On Monday, you're going to Concord Pines. Complete that program. Follow all the recommendations. No drugs or alcohol. He didn't do decision points, right? Because he went to NeoCap?
He did, Your Honor.
He did. How'd that work out?
I guess not good, sir.
Not good. Okay, and all the other things I told you to do that you haven't yet done, you're going to do. Or not going to do, such as it is, okay? Now, at this point, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say your dad cares if you do these things. Your son cares if you do these things. That I know for sure. Doesn't matter to me if you do these things or not. I have no control over it. I'm not sure you care if you do these things or not. So, either do them or you don't. If you don't, we'll go through a repeat performance. Now, you may want to do a little bit more than stare at the wall while you're at Concord Pines. You may want to do a little bit more and be honest when you go to Signature Health, but do whatever you want. You want to continue to screw around? I'll be here and we'll talk again. Ms. Randazzo, anything else? Now, wait a minute. You guys are transporting him to Concord Pines.
Correct, John.
Because I don't want you stopping off and getting a freaking monster drink on your way there. Anything else, Ms. Randazzo?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Watson?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, that's the end of that one. That one was a little long, but it was important that at the end of it, they didn't send him to prison. He had 50 days in jail, and then he was going to a rehab program. And in the end, he needed the rehab program more than he needed jail. We got plenty of people in prison, and putting him in prison just I didn't see where he had like a DUI or something. He just failed the test, which is enough to punish him. But we got plenty of room in prison for other people. So him going to rehab, who knows if he'll make it? I know it took my son 3 times to make it through rehab, but he's been done for probably almost a year now. And as stubborn as that kid is, if he could make it, I think anybody can make it. So he worked out good there. Let's see. You know what? I guess now would be the time to show the baby picture. All right. So I asked my daughter if I could show a picture, and this is the picture she told me I could show. All right. There you go. There's the picture of the baby that was approved by my daughter. My daughter is like her dad. She is an ass. And so that's she didn't want the pictures of the baby being shown, so that's what we got. Brian, you're saying I don't know about gentlemen, but yes, the guy talking is the host of the channel. Yes, absolutely. I started American Courts, and I've got a great group of mods that help with the show. We stream Judge Fleischer's Court Monday through Friday, but we're just streaming that and just in there, giving our own opinions. So, but we're going to jump over to Judge Clark in Panama City. Let's look over there.
Jaden Devon, Larry, and this is case number 23C4199. And we're here today on the sentencing. The jury has returned a verdict of guilty as charged of robbery and failed to make any special findings. Is that correct? State and defense ready to proceed to sentencing?
Judge, one of the issues when the verdict was returned was whether it was a true verdict because there was no special findings. Based upon the research that I was able to locate, and I think Mr. Sullivan came with the same case law that I did. It stands for the lowest robbery. So we did look at that. So I think he's to be sentenced on a simple robbery, which is a second-degree felony.
There was no enhancements filed. No, it was.
I did, Your Honor. I did file a notice to seek the violent habitual felony offender. I'm not going to be doing it this time based on the case law earlier. There's some dispute about whether there needs to be a jury finding of those things or not. So, out of an abundance of caution, I will not be proceeding forward on that.
All right. And prior to coming to court today, I reviewed some couple letters in support of Mr. Larry. I think they were, I don't know if they're in the court. I know there's some correspondence in the court file, but they were provided to my office.
Is it from his
From one
mother?
employer I know, and one that of maybe a some sort of after school or.
While Mr. Sullivan's reviewing that, there was also some family photos that Ms. Rolack provided, if the court would like to see those.
Okay. I've reviewed the letters. I reviewed the letter from Ms. Rolack. I reviewed the pictures. And Mr. Meredith, anything that you and Mr. Larry would like to put on the record prior to sentencing?
Yes, as far as what you've received is basically kind of a slanted PSI towards us. So if PSI was necessary, I think you've received that information that you would have. So he has never been sentenced to Department of Corrections. So if PSI is required, I think you've got
what I would get from a PSI. So
Yes.
you're willing to waive that at this time?
Yes, sir. And I believe Mr. Larry did want to put some things on the record and address the court.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Larry.
John, I don't want to take too much of your time up. You feel me? I know you got a busy day, but you know, as the process been, a lot of things happened during the process. You know, with first jury selection and stuff like that, it turned into a Richardson hearing because of a lot of evidence that wasn't presented 5 months ago after we asked for it prior up to that date. And, you know, the Williams Rule hearing came after that, and, you know, things were said. I think everybody could conclude that they couldn't, nobody said it was me. He couldn't identify me as a person. And there was no physical evidence in none of these cases, but a pair of alleged slides I was involved. And the day of the trial, more evidence came up that I didn't never see, my attorney never saw. It's clearly a discovery violation, Brady violation, however you want to call it. But, you know, I know everybody's doing the best of their ability to make sure everything gets seen and viewed. You feel me? And I appreciate my attorney for everything he did at trial, Miss Beasley, and as well as Mr. Sullivan. He's just doing his job. You feel me? But a lot of things with the witnesses, I was expecting one to be here. She didn't show up, but I guess she got denoted or whatever. I didn't know all this to the last minute, but even at trial with the detectives saying they couldn't ping my phone, and they did ping my phone. They had a search warrant for all of this. They did a tower dump, stage 1 and stage 2. I was never in the location. So it was just a lot of stuff that was said at trial that was actually false. And you feel me, about the hitting licks thing. I was never talking about licks. My girlfriend's name is Lex. That's probably why he said what he said. Oh, I didn't know. That's what it sounded like. I never said that. I never gave any admissions or any involvement or any knowledge of the crime that was being committed. So in the process of all this happened, a lot of stuff that I didn't agree on, a lot of stuff that I felt should have been ejected on, even the speculations of the robber hopping into the vehicle that was never seen, never happened. And it was just a lot of stuff. But, Your Honor, I appreciate everything Mr. Meredith did. You know, I appreciate everything Mr. Beasley did. You know, everybody just doing their job. You do what you do to the best of your ability to be fair and impartial. And I want to thank my mom and my girl for being here as well. And everybody else.
Mr. Meredith?
I respect the jury's verdict because they sat through it, but I do respectfully disagree with their finding. As Mr. Larry pointed out, you are familiar a little more deeply than the jury was because of the Williams Rule hearing and then hearing the testimony at trial. Mr. Larry made no admissions. The DNA on the slide was a mixture. there was never an identification of Mr. Larry as being the person that robbed the Dollar General October 18th.
Hold it down just a little bit, okay?
To my mind, there was more than reasonable doubt. There's another time for dealing with that. The state has shown me a score sheet which appears correct, where the lowest permissible sentence is 25.5 months. Based on the facts and circumstances that you heard throughout this case at various hearings and in trial, I'd ask for the lowest permissible sentence with no probation to follow. He has 464 days credit against this.
State?
Your Honor, while typically a court cannot consider lack of remorse at sentencing, the case law is clear that if the defendant testifies at trial or voluntarily testifies during the sentencing hearing, the court then can consider the voluntary statements that were made and the lack of remorse at that time. So I'm asking the court to consider Mr. Larry's lack of remorse based on his statements here today. Additionally, based on Mr. Larry's score sheet, as you can see, he's got a prior violent felony for carjacking. This is not his first violent offense. In fact, he was actually on probation for that carjacking offense at the time. So I'm asking for a harsh sentence in this case, Your Honor. Mr. Larry is not a first-time violent offender. He was given a chance the first time he was sentenced on that carjacking. Did not take anything from that. So I'm asking for the maximum of 15 years in this case.
All right, at this time, Mr. Larry, a jury of your peers has found you guilty of strong arm robbery. It is my obligation now to sentence you as follows. You'll be adjudicated guilty of robbery, sentenced to 15 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. Given credit for how many days?
464.
464 days time served. I am going to set restitution amount of $600 to Dollar General. That's reduced to a civil judgment. Your assessed fines and costs of $1,028. Those include discretionary costs of $2 of local law enforcement education, a $65 assessment of additional court cost, a $150 discretionary public defender fee payment, and a $200 discretionary fine. The fines and costs are reduced to a civil judgment. Of course, since it's a 15-year sentence, there's no probation to follow. All the fines and costs and restitution are reduced to a civil judgment. Mr. Larry, you have 30 days to file your notice of appeal. If you wish to appeal this judgment sentence, if you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, you can't afford one. One may be one to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you, sir.
Two other things real quick. The restitution amount, the $600, that was something that Mr. Meredith and I spoke about. There was some conflicting numbers about the exact amount that was taken. I suggested the lowest amount so that's where that 600 came from. I believe that's been agreed to, and that's why that was submitted.
Mr. Meredith?
As a civil judgment,
And the other thing, Your Honor, the state at this time would consolidate the other 3 cases that Mr. Larry has.
He's released from whatever bonds are on those, and those have been consolidated.
he has family locally. If you'd like to be held in ACI, if possible. Or,
It doesn't. I guess.
I just recommend the Florida Department of Corrections house Mr. Larry closest to Bay County.
But can you put on record that
yeah, I had spoken with Mr. Larry last week that he didn't even have to ask me. I was going to have the appeal prepared, and it would be filed by the end of next week.
Mr. Meredith will file the notice of appeal, then the Second Circuit Public Defender's Office will handle the appeal over in Tallahassee. Okay?
But I'll get the record perfected and get everything up there. All right.
All right. You need to step over and be fingerprinted. Mr. Larry? Meredith?
On the morning docket, you had continued Kareem Williams from, I believe it was last week, the out of custody pretrial, because he wasn't able to get to Panama City.
Okay. Come on up, Mr. Williams. Okay.
Judge, he had been offered a pretrial intervention. We had supplied that to him, and I'm not sure what his intentions are. All right.
You understand a pretrial intervention is an agreement you have with the state that's basically supervised by the probation and parole, and then the case is dismissed if you successfully complete that term.
Could you repeat it?
Pretrial intervention is a program that's offered by the state, and it's supervised by the Florida Department of Corrections. It's like probation, but it's not probation. It's an agreement that if you successfully complete the pretrial intervention, the state drops the charges against you.
I spoke with my public defender, and he gave me the terms and the things that I have to do, and I didn't agree with him.
Okay.
And I don't understand.
Sir?
I don't understand. So, like, the charges would be dropped.
If you successfully,
If you did all those
you have to abide by those terms and conditions, and the case would be dropped.
Could I ask a couple questions?
You ask Mr. Meredith.
I did. I mean, I spoke with him shortly. I didn't really get all I really spoke over. What we went over was the terms.
We had several phone conferences that were scheduled.
Yeah, we missed a lot due to the time difference.
Sir?
I said, well, we missed a lot due to the time difference.
He was on Eastern time and he would call an hour late.
I mean, a pretrial intervention is about as good as it gets. If you can take it or not take it, are we ready to set it for trial?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to do trial.
Well, then Mr. Meredith has done exactly what he's supposed to do for you. He's got the very best deal worked out for you. If you abide by the terms and conditions of the pretrial intervention, the state will dismiss the charges.
So the charges are brought upon me are by the state?
Well, who do you think brought them?
I thought I had a party.
Huh?
I thought it was an injured party.
The injured party, aren't they dope cases?
What is the jurisdiction of it? Is it criminal or
I
civil?
don't think you're near as smart as you think you are.
I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, you're not. Your possession of a controlled substance, giving false name, causing adverse effect. I guess there could be a victim on that. And resisting officer without violence. So, I don't know anything about the case, but it looks like you might have got a false, gave somebody else's name.
You just told me that the state was the.
The state's the only person who can charge you. Nobody else can charge you. It's the state. The victims can't charge you. They're just the alleged victims. They can't charge you. They can't do anything except make a complaint. But you've got offered a pretrial intervention. If you do the pretrial intervention, the state will drop the charges against you. If you don't meet the pretrial intervention, you come back to court and you start your defense again.
I don't wish to argue the facts.
Let's set it for trial.
Yes, sir.
Let's set it for May 5th at 8. Let's set it for June. What was that June date? June 2nd at 8:30. And it will be May 23rd at 1:30 for trial management. And if you change your mind and want to enter the pretrial intervention, you probably need to discuss that with Mr. Meredith. But remember, he's on Eastern Standard Time. Okay?
I'm on Central.
He's on Central Standard Time. You're on Eastern Standard Time. Okay? If you'll step over and sign a notice. Safe trip back to Gainesville. Step over right over here and sign a notice, sir.
Oh, you gotta love that. Going to Bay County, ended up getting in trouble and trying to tell the judge that you're just on the wrong time zone, and then challenging jurisdiction and having the judge tell you you're not nearly as smart as you think you are. I was hoping it was going to be May 5th. That was going to be great, having a trial tomorrow, but nope, it's going to be June, and by then I'll forget about it. So somebody remind me. I'm trying to look around. Linus won't remind me. Painted Blonde won't remind me. Man, I got a task for you. Please remind me about this so I can remember this one. It's going to be in June. So, all right. So we're going to wrap it up for the day. Let's hope Judge Boyd's back. Hadn't seen Judge Stevens lately, but we'll all be here for Judge Flash in the morning. You guys have a great night. We'll see you next time.